What's going on, everyone? This is the Community Pod. I'm your host, Mr. Class, and I got an amazing talent in the building. I got one of the best clothing brands out right now. I got SoChosen. What's up, man?
That's right. What's going on, fam?
So I know that your name's not SoChosen. I know it's Sharif, right?
Yes, sir.
That's how you pronounce it?
Yes, sir.
Cool. So, one, I got to say I'm happy that you're here. It's
For
cool
sure.
to have you.
It's a pleasure, bro.
Nah, definitely. I just wanted to ask, I guess starting off, where are you from?
I'm originally from Burlington, New Jersey, so that's like Central Jersey, kind of.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
If you can move the mic just a little bit back. That's my bad.
Now you got it.
All right, cool. Right there's cool.
For sure.
So, so you grew up, where was it again? I'm sorry?
I grew up in Burlington, New Jersey.
Burlington, New
Yes,
Jersey.
sir.
Cool. So I know that you moved to Atlanta.
That's right.
How recently was that? Or you lived there before.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that decision like, making to go to Atlanta?
I just was honestly in like a risk-taking mode.
Okay.
I felt like a lot of my industry was down in Atlanta, and I honestly felt like it was a great opportunity for my brand. So I made the move. It was kind of abrupt because I had a lease in an apartment up down in Burlington.
Okay.
And it was up in April, so I had to make a decision quick.
Yeah.
It was like March, the end of March. So I'm just like, man, let's just go to Atlanta and do it. So I called the realtor down there that I was connected with. She connected me to the apartment, and then we just went on and did it from there. So I moved in May, and I moved from Atlanta back to New Jersey in December.
Cool.
So I was down there for a solid, 7 months?
No, that's fire though.
Yeah, it
That's
definitely
cool.
is.
I want to get back into the Atlanta part, but I really want to know, what was life growing up for you? Coming, living in Burlington and then growing up and then eventually finding your passion.
So we could go way, way back. Originally, I was born in New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Okay.
So that's kind of up here in this area. I moved out of New Brunswick when I was 4. So I moved from New Brunswick to Willingboro, New Jersey, from pre-K to 4th grade. My parents ended up getting a divorce in 2010, and that's what moved me to Burlington. So
Okay.
I moved to Burlington. It was kind of new for me. I didn't know anybody. I was 5th grade, elementary school, and I was a new kid, so it was different.
Yeah.
I've never been a new kid before, but it was kind of cool. I'm a cool person. I attracted a lot of cool people. I met my group friends. That's where my guy D Black came along, and so that's where it really started for sure.
Cool. So when is it that you feel like you found your passion for making clothing?
So I always been into clothing. My older brother, he was in that industry heavy. So I always saw it. I used to sneak in his room and steal his sneakers and stuff to rock to school. I just always liked looking fresh. So I got the idea to start the brand in 2020, not after the pandemic, it was mid-pandemic.
Okay.
I had a pizza delivery job. It wasn't really making me too much money though. I got most of my bread off the tips, and it just wasn't enough. So I'm like, man, let me just sit back and see what really works for me. And I just got the idea one day to start the brand, and when the word SoChosen popped in my head, I knew that was it, and I had to run with it. So smacked it on 2 T-shirts and took it from there, bro. It was honestly crazy. It's still so surreal to talk about. It happened this way, but we here, man.
Nah, definitely.
For
Cause
sure.
The fact that it started in 2020, right, and mid-pandemic, especially when everybody's home, you know what I'm saying. And I feel like it was a big part of a lot of people's lives when they went through the pandemic. I had someone recently come on and they said that the pandemic made a lot of creatives or people that have a real passion find their passion because we're sitting down all day trying to figure out what it is that we love to do.
Got no choice but to figure something out. Yeah.
And it really shows us it gave us a time to be able to realize who we are as people as well.
For sure.
Do you feel like that as well?
Nah, definitely. It gave me a lot of time to just sit with myself, even sides of myself that I didn't like. I honestly just had to face them and overcome the small things that I knew needed change and things I needed to grow from. I just had so much time to do that, so I'm honestly grateful for the pandemic. Overall, it wasn't the greatest thing, but it definitely brought a lot out of me, that some little things that I didn't even know existed that I had within me, it brought out. So I'm definitely thankful for that, for sure.
Nah, definitely. And, I know that we're both not trying to say that the pandemic was a good thing.
Right.
It was just more the fact that it gave people the time that we don't ever get.
That we never know we needed.
Exactly.
We never had it, yeah.
That time of being isolated, like you said, you face your worst self as well as your best self.
That's right.
Because you have to overcome your own demons. You have to figure out what it is that makes me happy. And sitting there all the time is one, I feel like it's draining. It was draining as fuck.
For sure.
Sitting there and not being able to do shit all day.
Yeah, it felt kind of restrained. We couldn't leave the house. It was new. It was
Exactly.
something we'd never experienced.
Exactly. So I know that. So when was it that you actually when you moved to Atlanta, and do you feel like that was one of the best decisions you made?
That was probably the best decision I made in my life. I'm gonna just tell you that. And it was May of. Let me get my numbers right really quick. It was May of 2022 that I moved to Atlanta.
Okay. So less than a year, about a year ago.
Less than a year.
Gotcha. That's crazy.
For sure.
And so what was it that made it the best decision you made in your life?
Just like the environment, the connections. Before I even moved to Atlanta, I never been there before, right? So I went down to visit 1 month. My aunt actually lives in a town outside of Atlanta, so we were able to go down there in December of 2021 so I could see what it's like, get a feel for it. And then from that experience, it was pretty cool. So I'm like, all right, this is something that's manageable. But when I actually moved and got there, I was like, yo, I'm lost. Like, I don't know anything. It was just me and my partner. So we were kind of just in the middle of nowhere, just us type stuff. But, yo, that honestly, it helped me grow so much. And then I was just forced to kind of get out and network, meet new people. And I say it's the best part because of connections I made. Like, those are lifetime connections I have now that are like, it's so surreal to talk about, but that's what it is, a connection.
Sure. I gotta say that I actually had somebody that did the same thing. They moved from New Jersey to Atlanta for basically taking a risk, trying to see what they can do with their lives. You can actually, if you ever want to check it out, if you haven't, if you're watching Barely Brandon, I believe it was episode 3. He same thing. He went to Atlanta and he got an opportunity to work with artists such as like Polo G and everything. Like, what do you think it is about Atlanta that is so like, you know what I mean? Like, why is that the hot spot?
I just feel like it's the Black Mecca. Like, it's for our culture. It's like our Hollywood, our version of Hollywood. So the biggest of the biggest are just in Atlanta walking around. Like, you'll find them in a Chick-fil-A or like just anywhere around. I don't know exactly what makes it the spot, but it's definitely the spot. Like, for anything, music, art, whatever you're into, like, Atlanta has it.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like on the news and stuff, they try to scare you away from Atlanta, like crime, all this other stuff, but they're doing that for a reason because Atlanta's really the spot. Like, if you were to just go down there, connection could happen and you thriving, like, just off of that alone. So
no, I just find that crazy because, like, you would think, especially, you know, us who grew up in New Jersey, you know what I mean? And the biggest thing is like, oh, New York has all the possibilities, which I believe it does. It has a lot of opportunities.
For sure.
But I feel like I've already had 2 people talk about Atlanta, and it makes me want to go visit Atlanta.
That's how it goes. But on the flip side of that, Atlanta's cool, but there's a lot of people that are doing the same thing. So you kind of have to really work very hard to stand out. Like, yeah, because some people call it a rat race, but it's all about perspective and how you look at it. I viewed it as an opportunity to connect with people who do the things I do. Like, I don't look at the people in my industry as competition. Like, there's something I can learn from each person in the industry. So if you go down there with that mindset, you'll be good. But if you go down there looking at bigger brands and seeing how great they're doing and kind of getting discouraged about that, you're not gonna really thrive. You're just gonna be in that mind frame of scarcity and fear.
So what was life like for Sharif before clothing even came in? Like, was it even a thing or even a thought?
I was a lost. I wouldn't say lost. I was just wild. I was a wild kid, honestly, just having fun, enjoying life. Kind of still in that high school vibe because I started my brand pretty young.
Okay.
I graduated in 2018, so 2 years after I graduated, I started the brand. I tried the college route. Did probably a half a semester, and I was just honest with myself. I'm like, this is something that's not for me. This stuff doesn't make sense. And I wasn't gonna waste my parents' money and stuff, so I just dropped out. Started working at Target. That was cool. Wendy's was cool. I was a parking lot attendant at a car dealer. That was cool. The snow wasn't cool with that. But my last job before I actually hopped into the clothing industry was security.
Okay.
So security and pizza delivery, I'm sorry. Those were cool as well, but I just realized then that working wasn't for me as well. But I did it, needed the money, of course.
Exactly.
So then, yeah, that's pretty much how life was like before. I was also like, I kind of feel like now I'm more calm. I switched up my diet. I used to be like a heavy junk food meat eater. Now I'm just vegan. That kind of cleared my mind. I just feel pure, clean. I'm heavy on meditation and just tapping into like my inner self, my spirit, keeping my inner self calm because your inner world controls your outer world. Everything starts within. So converting to veganism definitely changed a lot for me, like mentally, just calm me down. I wasn't as crazy. I could focus on my thoughts. I could, just zone in on things I wanted to focus on, and that honestly took my mind to the next level.
Yeah.
For
So,
sure.
one, I gotta say that's awesome because I feel like a lot of people don't get like they never get to find themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, what? Okay, because I'm a meat eater, right?
For sure.
And I want to know, like, when it comes to being vegan, like, how much has that like affected you in your life? And not just being vegan, but meditating, because some people can look at meditating and think that it's not like that beneficial, but I feel like I've tried meditating and I feel like it does help in a lot of ways, that it gives you a peace of mind. So, would you advise people to do it?
I definitely would, and not even just meditation, breath work as well. Like if you combine breath work and with meditation, you'll definitely feel like completely different, honestly. But it's honestly something you have to try. Like I could sit here and tell you about it all day, but you said you tried it and it works pretty well for you. But yeah, meditation is definitely a major key.
Yeah, because and to also about I don't want to say veganism. I don't even know if that's a word.
Yeah, I just made that up. Veganism.
But to be vegan, right?
Right.
Like I myself have tried. Like I feel like people don't have an open mind about it because at the end of the day, it's still food. You know what I'm saying? And it's healthier for you. And I've tried like vegan burgers, and they're pretty good. Like
for sure.
It's not that much of a difference. So I just feel like adding that in there. But to talk about yourself and everything, like what was a struggle that you feel like you had in your life that really built you to be who you are today?
That's a great question. It honestly could have been my parents' divorce, but that honestly wasn't a struggle for me because I was still young. But it honestly could have had an effect on me that I don't realize. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like growing up in a 2-parent household, I feel like I could have been more structured or whatever. I could throw cliches out there all day, like what I could have been, but that definitely was an eye-opening experience, and that probably is what did that for me for sure.
Do you feel like, because I don't want to answer for you at all, like,
yeah, for sure,
but you can let me know if this makes sense to you, right? Do you feel like when it comes to the divorce, it's not the splitting of the two parents, it's more like you feel like there sometimes can be love that is missing that you would like, you know what I'm saying? So like, would you say that like if there was a part that was like, I kind of, now that my parents are split up, I might not get as much as love as I would like to as their child. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's big. Yeah, I never personally felt like that, I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, no.
And my mom, she had 4 kids, so it was 4 of us.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it was just her, and then us 4. But on the weekends, we would go to my dad's house. And so it was like 2 different worlds. So during the week, I would be in Burlington going to school. It's like the suburbs. Then my dad's weekend will be in New Brunswick, like dead smack in the hood. So it was like a culture shift. So I got the best of both worlds. Suburbs during the week, hood during the weekend. It was pretty lit. So I'm thankful for that. There's so much I learned. Like you just see both sides. Like there's so much different things you see in the hood, and there's so much different things you see in the suburbs. I don't even want to call it the hood.
Nah,
but
a harder lifestyle.
Yeah, different environment.
Different environment. Sure. I feel like I would love you to elaborate on that when it comes to like because I have been able to feel the same experience for about 3 months of my life. I was able to experience Pennsylvania and like real rural, like just farms and everything, and then living in Jersey, where it was just like very, very different. So what do you feel like that? Do you feel like that aspect of life and that part of your life has helped you with your clothing brand?
Yeah, nah, for sure. It's important because it teaches you different life skills, like being in different areas. You see different people, you see how different people operate. And fast forward to business, it's like the same thing where you're dealing with people all day, so kind of how to deal with different kinds of people and things like that. So in that aspect of things, it definitely helped.
No, definitely. It has to. You know what I mean?
It definitely does. And real quick, I want to ask you, how was like the royal living, like the farm area?
It was very different. It's super different because it's got to be like the way that I can only put it is the fact that I was is that me?
No, that's me.
Oh no, you're good. Okay. Like the way that I can put it is, I was pretty much like 1 out of 5 Hispanics in the school, and maybe there was 2 African Americans max.
Okay.
So it was just like a very big, huge they had auctions like in our school. Like we would sit there. We had wood shop. Like I was able to build, what was it, a cutting board for my grandma. Like it was just
dope.
weird stuff.
That's
you know
dope,
what I mean?
though. Yeah, that's a life skill
Exactly.
right there.
Like
Yeah.
I just found that crazy that like, you know, schools in like this area of New Jersey, or like I guess like urban areas, they don't really do that kind of stuff.
They don't.
And I feel like it's a life skill that people should learn.
For sure.
But yeah, huge culture shock. Like I would get on a bus. I'll never forget this story. I was on the school bus and there was an Amish girl, and we dropped her off at home from school, and she walked into like a what is it called, the cornfields, like middle cornfields. It looked like some horror movie shit.
Just
walked in, and I remember I was like a freshman. I was a freshman in high school at that point. My sister was little, and she was like, Lester, what? My sister just asked me like, yo, like, is no one gonna go and watch her? Like, it was just
no one
crazy.
Gonna go help her. Like,
yeah, like it was just crazy because like
funny.
something like that, if that were to happen here, it would be like, nah, that's weird. But like over there, it's normal.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I appreciate you asking though.
Nah, for sure.
But so I would like to get into like, so the clothing, right? When you decided to make the clothing and then decided on this name, SoChosen, like, did SoChosen just come up? Like, was it just the first name you thought of?
Yes, it honestly was. Like, I tell people, it was like an instant download from the creator. When I got it that day, I couldn't act on it immediately because I was still working and stuff. So I just put it in my notes, and I'm like, man, when I get back to this, it's going to be scary. But yeah, I just knew it was something that honestly everyone could relate to because we're literally all chosen to be here. Like, out of all the millions of sperm that, if we want to get technical, out of all the millions of sperm, we won. So we're so chosen to be here, you know? So yeah, that was pretty.
That's
dope,
cool. So
for sure.
To get back to add to that question, like, did you know what kind of style you wanted to establish when getting into clothing?
I honestly didn't because I didn't know how it was gonna go. And I'm gonna be honest, when I first got into it, I was just looking to do it for money. So I just thought some little cool T-shirts would sell and they'd work. But when the brand blew up, I'm like, all right, I have a wave here. I have to find a niche, stick to it, and just work off that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't really start off anything specific.
So what do you feel like is one of the hardest parts of being a clothing brand owner?
Everything. From operations to making sure the manufacturing is okay, to making sure customers are satisfied, to making sure orders arrive on time. Like, there's so much. But I honestly feel like soon I'm coming into a space where I'm developing a team, so that's gonna help a lot. But managing all of that, being one person, is definitely a huge task. For sure.
It's gotta be.
It is.
So, like, I know that. So the one thing I can say about your clothing, since I went to go and check them out and everything, was that the how can I say, some of the pieces you make, I haven't seen before, or like it's different, which is a good thing. You know what I mean?
Sure, yes.
So how like, I'm trying to figure out how to answer to question this, but like, people, when they start a clothing brand, they start off with a shirt and pants, right? And now you're getting into like more, I feel like more, I want to say, I could be using the wrong word, but like technical pieces, where like you did that 2-piece, the matching set, right?
Yes, sir.
And that was fire. Like,
sure, appreciate that.
No, of course. And what I want to ask is, like, how do you even find like clothing like that? For like, because being a clothing brand, I feel like you also have to find the cheapest route so that you can make, you know, profit off your clothing, obviously.
Yeah, nah, for sure.
So how was it especially the 2 set? How did you end up doing the matching set?
So the 2-piece, it was kind of like, I got inspiration from Philly on that one. Like, that's like the Philly culture, the Dickie sets. It was kind of trendy, so I'm like, man, maybe I could do this but add my own twist. So I came up with a concept for it that didn't really make sense at first, but this is when I first hired a designer to, you know, come up with the designs, like the patches and the things I have on it. So he created a dope mock-up, and I just sent it over to a Pakistan manufacturer, and he sent me a sample. It was fire. I'm like, oh, we got something. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that was actually my first time working with a Pakistan manufacturer. Like, that set was my introduction to, like, just tapping into, like you said, technical pieces, because before that it was just a basic T-shirt, shorts, like basic Alibaba products.
Gotcha. So what do you feel like it takes to be a clothing brand owner, or like any type of creator? What does it take to be what you're
It
doing?
honestly doesn't take much. It just takes for you to be yourself and you being comfortable being yourself. Me personally, I can speak from my own experience. I've lived a life of trying to be things I'm not, and it honestly just doesn't work. Like, living a lie isn't really cool. So when you're authentic and true to who you are, it'd be pretty easy to do a clothing brand, anything you want to do, honestly.
Just being authentic.
Authenticity,
Gotcha.
for real.
Gotcha. So what are some of the best experiences you've had while being able to do your clothing?
The best experiences was probably meeting some dope people. Like we talked about earlier, the King Sid interaction was pretty dope. I was able to meet like Steve Harvey, Brandon Marshall, like athletes, entrepreneurs, just different figures that are big in our world. I don't really like to call them celebrities because I honestly feel like we shouldn't have been idolizing people off rip. Like, they're no different than you and I.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, definitely meeting them because they have different audiences that
Yeah.
could, do something major for my brand. So just the connection, them seeing my face is enough for me, honestly. I have strong faith that they'll remember who I am, and I might come across them one day again, or they might have a collab they want to do with me one day. You just never know. So
Exactly.
I'm just thankful for the connections, and that's been very important.
No, definitely. And I like that you mentioned that the idolizing.
Yeah,
Because at the end of the
man.
day, we are all human beings.
We're all humans.
We're all the same.
Yeah.
But to get more into it, like, what is one thing that has changed in your life because of the clothing?
Dang, that's a great question. What's one that I'm gonna just say my life, honestly. Like,
Okay.
it's completely different. Like, I don't wake up thinking about the same things. Like, typical person to wake up, eat breakfast, go to work, go home, go to sleep, do the same thing again. But I don't operate like that. Like, I don't operate on time. I sleep when I sleep. Wake up when I wake up. I work when I work. I just try to operate more freely now. So, like, in the normal world, there's a lot of structure. Like, you got to be here at a certain time. You got to do this certain time, blah, blah. I just don't live like that anymore. That simple.
Yeah, definitely.
For
And
sure.
I have to ask, you said you thought of the idea, right? In 2020, middle of the pandemic.
That's right.
Right? It is now 2023, and you've been able to grow to nearly 30,000 on Instagram.
That's
for
right.
just your clothing brand. What was that feeling like to be able to grow that quickly? Because there's a lot of brands that don't grow that quickly.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty cool. But honestly, after growing that much, I'm like, dang, I didn't even have to grow this much to be this impactful or do what I'm doing. Because honestly, a portion of that 30,000, say 1,000, if I had 1,000 loyal supporters or a loyal community of 1,000, I could honestly nurture it and work with them to reach any goal I want, whether that's financial, spiritual, whatever the case may be. So the numbers really don't get to me anymore. Like I said, the 30,000 is cool. I was north of 30,000 before, but it's kind of starting to dip off a little bit, which is cool. But I got to the 30,000 by paid advertisement. So
Okay.
I was pumping like a lot of money into paid ads. And especially when I got influencers in my merch, their ads went like crazy. Like, a typical person seeing like a LeBron, my bad that I moved this back too far. If I put like a LeBron James in my clothes and he makes up a post in the clothing, there's a chance that a lot of people are going to support the brand now.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't really get too much into the numbers. I just like to make connections.
Definitely.
For sure.
Do you feel like you're at a point where, like, I just got to focus on clothing now? Like, this is it? This is my life?
Kind of, but I don't want to put myself in that box.
Okay.
Yeah, because I still feel like I have room to grow. I have,
Yeah.
just so much room to be more than just a clothing brand owner, but I don't want to get too far away from it at the same time because I don't want it to fall off.
No, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
Because I peeped that like your last post was in 2022.
that's right.
Right? And I wanted to ask, but I know that you can answer this later, but like what's the future look like for SoChosen?
It's phenomenal, honestly. And my last post was in 2022.
Okay.
That's because I took a break.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why. That break was definitely needed. In the 3 years I was in business, never took a break. So I was just so chosen from 2020, from when I started, to like December of 2022. But at the end of last year, I went through a situation like a manufacturer scammed me out of $9,000, and that kind of like set me back big time. So I'm like, damn, I have a bunch of customers that I got to take care of. And then I had bills on top of that. Like, I moved to Atlanta. I had a nice apartment. The rent was about $1,900. It was pretty expensive. and I had a bunch of other expenses. So I'm like, man, this is like a humbling experience, humble moment. I never was really into saving money. Like I like actively investing every dollar I have. So like most of what I had was going back into the brand. I wouldn't really pay myself. Like knowing this now, I probably would have did it completely differently. But I was just so into the brand, and like you said, I got that 30,000. That's how I did it. Like just dumping money back into it, advertisements, whatever the case was. But yeah, man, that hurt. That scam hurt for sure. But we back now.
No, definitely.
We're back now. April is my first drop of the year for 2023. I'm coming back with some hoodies and some beanies. You know, just something pretty simple, but it's gonna be pretty dope. So I'm expecting some big things this year from the brand. But that break was honestly the best thing I could have done.
No, definitely, because I feel like everybody deserves a break.
Nah,
you know what I mean? Especially
it's
like
needed.
Exactly. You were going hard for, you said what, 3 years?
2 years.
2 years
straight.
Just going crazy. You know what I mean? Pushing
All
out
in.
content,
Yes,
going
sir.
and like, you know, do you feel like that is a key factor that some people miss out on, that like maybe they take, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I feel like sometimes if you take that break too early, it could be it could go horribly wrong,
Yeah, it
right?
could be detrimental for sure. Yeah.
So like I feel like there's got to be a middle ground when it comes to finding that point when you deserve that break. If that makes sense. How do you feel about that?
I just feel like now, me personally, I have to have like a bit more structure in my life. So like you said, you can't really take that break too early because there's a chance you could fall off. Like there's so many up and coming brands. Like you take a break and you look up 6 months later and you've been on this break and now your brand is nothing. Like now you got to work 20 times harder than you did when you started to try to make a comeback. So that balance and that structure is important because you could set out time throughout your day to work on your brand, take a break, maybe do something else you have to do, but structure for sure.
Definitely. And I wanted to ask, like, I correct me if I'm wrong, but like when that $9,000 scam happened, was that one of your lowest points? Where like,
yes,
yeah,
for sure, it was, but it wasn't something I like consciously realized. Like it was my lowest point because I had so many things to figure out like in that moment. But looking back on it, it was definitely one of my lowest points. But I needed that low to get back up high. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely,
dips and rips. That's how I look at it. Like you're gonna have the highs and lows. It's all about the mindset, and those low situations can either break you or make you. And I honestly feel like it tried to break me. Like it would break me. It broke me to a point, but it broke me down enough that I was able to come back and build myself back up.
That's fire. No, definitely. What advice would you give people that might be going through their lowest of lows?
Honestly, just see it through. And this might sound so cliche, but you're gonna get through it. Honestly, it's not gonna last. You're going through this low to, learn, to grow, to just, persevere and get through situations. You gotta go through something to get to whatever you're trying to get to out here in this world. So honestly, just take it on the chin. Don't really be too discouraged about it. I mean, it's gonna hurt, of course. Accept that hurt. Give yourself space and time to feel what it truly feels like, and let them feel and stick with you, because when you get back to that high point, you want to remember how you felt when you was low, and you don't want to get back there type stuff. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
And how important, I like the part where you said you're able to build yourself back up, right? Mm-hmm. How important is that part, that build up part?
It's very important, but I'd be lying if I said I was in it alone. Like I had some great people around me that assisted me in building myself back up, because it was a low point for sure, but that's important, and you have to want to build yourself back up. It's not something that is just going to happen overnight. You honestly have to baby step your way into it, because it's a process.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's kind of like, the way that I sometimes I can put it is, it's kind of like you're going through an injury, right? Mm-hmm. When you got injured, and like you said, it's baby steps. You're basically starting from scratch, where it's just like, I already have like all the things together. It's just me now. It's a fight within myself that I just have to basically reinvent yourself.
That's right.
Just start from the beginning, baby step your way back, and you'll get there.
For sure.
Definitely.
That's right.
So what I want to ask, right? I know I got my stuff over there. I forgot it over
there. Little list.
You can pass it real quick. Forgot it over there. I usually keep it underneath here. No one knows I keep it. So what I want to ask, right? It's not even on there, so like, don't even play me. But um, when you worked as you did delivering pizzas, right?
That's right.
You delivered pizzas. You also was a security guard. Like, was there ever a point where you felt stuck? Where like before even the clothing brand was even an idea or like it formed to be what it is, right? Before this, was there ever a point where like you worked every day, right? And you were just like, I hate this.
For sure, because back to when I worked at Target, I was seeing like all my friends off in college, like just having fun. It looked like they were living life. But this goes back to one thing I always say, like the tables always turn. Some of those people that I saw enjoying life and turning up are out of school now and kind of lost in life. Like they don't know what they want to do. So I'm like, dang, I was looking at them back then thinking like, dang, I'm missing out, blah, blah, blah. But fast forward to now, I wasn't missing anything. So it's crazy how it worked out, but I was definitely at that point. Like I felt lost probably at every job I had because I just felt like I didn't belong there. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to be there, but I'm not the type of person to just not want to be somewhere and just leave. Like I'm gonna go through it still and see what I can learn from these different jobs. Like there's so many skills that I've learned from each job that I had that I was able to outsource even into my own company. So that's been an experience that I'm thankful for. Like every job that I worked at, I honestly have nothing bad to say about any one of them. It was the experience I'm thankful for sure.
Yeah, it was part of your journey.
The journey, exactly.
So I wanted you to get into. I know that a lot of people can feel this way, but like, how would you describe the feeling of being lost?
Mm-hmm. How would I describe that feeling? Like the story you told me earlier when the young Amish girl walked into the cornfield, that's how it is. Like just being in the middle of a cornfield, dark out, all you hear is noises. You don't really see much. Like you can't, when you're lost, you don't see anything but, I guess, I want to say darkness, but that just sounds too dark. But
No.
it's the truth. When you're lost, you don't really see much. So, yeah. That's pretty much it on it.
Okay, no, definitely not. I wanted
That's
to ask.
a great question. That was a great question.
I also got this question that I feel like it's gonna be. Let me know if it makes sense, right? But like, how do you feel about the mind, right? Because we spoke about earlier how it can be your worst enemy as well as your best friend, right? What do you feel like? Like, how do you deal with that? I know that like it's a very difficult question, but like, how do you feel like somebody can deal with that, like dealing with the sitting down and being like, I hate doing this, or I'm in my lowest, or like you even getting, I feel like sometimes you just get in your own head where like everything's going well and you're just sitting there and you're just thinking like, am I even doing well? But it's
That's
not,
right.
there's nothing going on.
That's
You're doing
right.
fine.
You're just questioning things that and that's a good one. I'm honestly, and a lot of people would be feeling like that and just accept it because of like social media and things like that. Like a lot of things we see on social media kind of trains us. Like I like a quote that goes, "What entertains you trains you," because that's facts. If you just see glamorous life all day on social media and everything perfect, you'll feel like you're missing something in your life. Like say you just made $1 million and you go on Instagram, you see this guy just made 10 million. You're like, damn, is my $1 million not enough? No, your million's more than enough. Like that's kind of the world we live in. Like comparison, but that's honestly the thief of all joy. Like you really can't compare yourself. You just got to stay tunnel vision. But that starts internally. Like I was saying before, like this is a brain up here, but we also have a stomach brain. So what you put into your body ultimately is going to affect your mind, right? So if you're eating bad and you feel bad, that's why, So they pump, and nowadays like fast food, they pump different chemicals in food that they know will alter your mind. They know will have you feeling depressed. They know will keep you in a state of like cloudiness, fogginess, things of that nature. So that they know what they're doing on there, and that's why I'm vegan now, and I'm just into the clean eating lifestyle because I honestly believe what you put into your body alters your mind and the way you think as well. So, and back to being vegan, like we were talking about earlier, a lot of people that eat meat, they say, oh, well, I need to eat meat for protein. Eating meat is actually secondary protein. Like these animals, the bears, the chicken, whatever you see, the big animals out in the forest, they're eating berries and they're eating the protein. So you're actually eating dead protein. You're eating secondary protein. You're eating dead protein. I'm not even going to call it protein. You're eating dead flesh. And you're just eating dead energy. So you're eating dead food expecting to feel alive.
You just made me feel bad about eating.
Nah, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad, bro. It's okay. I mean, because it's truly a process. Like, I didn't just wake up one day and be like, I'm vegan. Like,
Yeah.
I tried it, and I was still dip and dabble with the meats because it was hard. I would be driving. I'll smell Chick-fil-A. I'm like, I got to go grab some nuggets. And I do it. But afterwards, I feel like shit. But,
Yeah.
you know, we're human, man. No one's perfect. But just take this. If you are interested in becoming vegan, just take baby steps, bro. I'm not here to, like, bash meat eaters because I understand. Like, we got to eat, but we only eat it because it smells good. And that's pretty much it. Smells good, tastes good. But you could do the same thing with like a mushroom or a chickpea, things of that nature. So, yeah.
I gotta say, that was deep as fuck.
Nah,
like,
for sure,
especially into the vegan. Like, I've never heard it that way, and that just made me like completely think about it. It was like, damn, like you're right.
Yeah, like imagine how the animal was feeling when it got killed. Like, it was probably in fear. So that energy's in the meat. Now you're eating the meat and you're wondering why you're all jittery and you just feel a certain way. That's why. But we're not really taught that. We're taught that eating meat is good and it's protein. We need it in our bodies, but we don't. The biggest animals are out there eating trees and whatever else they're eating, leaves. Like, it's just crazy, but yeah.
So, right back into it, right? I just wanted to ask,
we
like,
got out of it.
we had to address this real quick.
Just had to get that out.
No, definitely. So what I wanted to ask was, do you, not to say that you are where, like, this is the end of Sharif, right? But did you ever expect for you to be where you are right now?
Mm-hmm. I always knew that the potential was there, but I didn't expect it, you know, to pan out or play out this way. But I always expected me to be who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Sharif, my name means honorable and, like, trustworthy, and I feel like I stand on both of those words.
Yeah.
Very honorable. Very trustworthy.
Definitely. So, what advice would you give to somebody, like, if you were to look back at, like, a younger you or younger people like yourself, right? What advice would you give that person?
If you don't already, I'd find a mentor. Yeah, someone that you can kind of relate to and can learn from, things of that nature. It sounds so cliche, but whether that's a parent or, like, someone out here in the community you look up to, but that's very important because with the music culture nowadays and entertainment, like, a lot of young people that look like me are swayed away from who they're truly supposed to be. So now we have people out here running around, you know, beefing with each other. Like, you're beefing with people who look just like you. You got the rap culture that's degrading our women, degrading our men, like making them criminals and things of that nature. It's just crazy. So having the right mentor will steer you away and keep you, you know, on your path and away from the BS.
No, definitely. I feel like a lot of kids nowadays are a lot different than when we were kids.
Oh, for sure.
Because I feel like you can't even, like, I know this, I'm gonna sound old as hell, but, like, I hate going to certain places now because, like, it's just, like, wild. Like, you can't go outside and enjoy your time anymore.
Nah, that's a fact.
Like, this is gonna be a funny story, but, like, I went to the movie theaters a long time with my girl, dine-in movie theaters. I don't know if you've ever been to Menlo.
Nah, I haven't.
No?
The mall.
Yeah, the mall.
Yeah.
I went to the dine-in movie theaters, and there was, like, kids, like, and then there was panties on the floor, like, just panties on the floor, and it was weird, like, and it was, like, I just, like, it's not enjoyable anymore. Like, it's not enjoyable to go because
I feel what you're saying.
The energy just isn't the same.
It's not the same, yeah.
And I feel like I could be wrong. Like, I know there's gonna be young people that watch this. But, like,
they ain't going.
They ain't going to hear this. But, like, I feel like we were raised different, or, like, there was more, like, I don't want to say discipline, but, like, we knew what we could and could not do.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
And we listen. I feel like the youth, a lot of them don't have, like, real deal guidance, like people that they can look up to and truly idolize and want to be like that are positive, you know. And the positive people nowadays, they're looked at as, like, corny. So it's kind of like lose, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, back to what you were saying. Yeah, we did grow up different, and a lot of these kids nowadays, they have social media. They don't really have to go outside, or they could just call up their buddies on FaceTime. Like, we didn't live like that. Yeah. We was outside playing, riding bikes, playing basketball. Like, we were outside for real. And we were even outside places, not even like that. Like, we were just going places, skating, like you just said, movies, things like that. But it's just so different nowadays. Yeah. But I honestly still try to find fun within the BS. Like, I'm not going to put myself physically in a position to get into like a situation or anything, but we still got to try to find some kind of fun out here, because we can't just let them shut us down like that.
Do you feel like the reason that the youth is so different, right, is because when we were kids, we didn't really, I don't want to put it this way, but like I feel like we didn't idolize people.
Right.
We didn't think about the idea of somebody on the internet being our idol. It was more like the people we look up to are our parents or somebody in our life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So to sit down and be like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, oh, like the only example I could give is like Andrew Tate, right? Kids idolize that man like crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy because I would never, and I know myself, like growing up, I wouldn't be like, that's the guy I want to look up to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
like it was more like they're famous people on the internet, and just like, I have family. You know what I'm saying? People I look up to in my own family.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you feel like you had, like you mentioned that you have a support system at home? Like when you went through that lowest of lows, you were able to have help from friends and family.
That's right.
What is it like having that support from friends and family?
It's everything. Like having a strong tribe is like literally everything, because you need someone or somebody, a lot of people to fall back on sometimes. Like you can't do it all yourself. It's a big world we live in. There's billions of people out here. There's so much you're going to go through, so much you're going to experience. Like you need people, whether that's for advice or just support in general. You just need like that tribe.
Definitely.
For sure.
So what I want to ask, because we were coming close to the end, I have like 2 more questions. I just want to ask, what is it that I ask this question for every episode, so you might have heard it or when you watched it or saw the episode, but what is it that wakes you up every morning, maybe even keeps you up at night to be able to do what you're doing?
Oh, my daughter, for sure.
Your daughter?
Yeah, for sure. That's my light.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So well, it's an obvious answer, but
nah, for sure.
Like, what is that motivation like to have a daughter and like wake up every morning and know that I need to make her life amazing?
Yeah, nah, it's honestly everything. Like at this point, I'm not even firsthand living for myself anymore. It's mainly for her, because she still has to grow up, and I want her to live in a world that's, you know, peaceful and okay. So if I'm the person who brought her into this world, I feel like that's my duty to do that. So I'm definitely gonna set her up for like generational wealth, all those cool things, you know.
No, definitely, that's amazing. And I feel like I should have asked that question earlier, because I didn't know you had a daughter this whole time.
Oh yeah, not for sure. My bad. I should have mentioned it.
But like, I gotta say one, like, well, to now add to this question, to add to that is like, how do you balance everything? How do you balance, taking care of your daughter, you know, waking up and doing like the things you're doing, making sure the brand is still going?
Yeah, and that's still like, yeah, for sure. My bad.
No.
That's still like an everyday thing, like learning how to balance everything. Like when it first, like my daughter was born last year, so I told you we moved to Georgia in May of 2021, and she was born that same month in Georgia. Like we had a home birth. So that was part of the reason why we moved to Georgia. We were big on like home birth and, you know, just doing things our own way type stuff. So she was born, and it just changed everything. Like my schedule changed. She'd be up late at night. Like it was kind of hard. I'm gonna be honest. Like my partner and I, we thugged it out. Like we were there for each other. We were very supportive, and still to this day, like it's still an ongoing process of like working things out and balancing everything. But as she's growing up and getting older, it's becoming like pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the best feeling about being a dad?
Just having someone that looks like you. That's probably the best part. Like, dang, this really my little twin. Like, it's crazy, but it's dope for sure.
Yeah.
It feels like surreal still. Like, wow, I'm really a father. Like, that's big.
You ever sit back and think like that? That you sit back and like, wait, I'm a dad.
I'm a dad. Like, hold on. Yeah, for sure. It happens a lot. Yeah, because I'm still young and still trying to figure out life myself. And then now I brought a new life into the world. So just imagine like how much work that could be.
No, definitely. Yeah, especially since you said that you want to give her the world and set her up.
That's right.
And that's like, I feel like that's one of the biggest motivations of all. Like make it, like, I know there's a lot of people that say, I have people that depend on me, but I feel like having a child that depends on me is totally
completely different for sure.
Definitely different. So my last question, what is it that you want the world to know about Sharif, the owner of SoChosen?
I just want the world to know that I'm here to be light. Like, I'm not any different from anyone. I don't have all the answers. I'm not perfect, but I'm honestly just a piece to the puzzle that I feel like this world can definitely use, you know? Use me as light, use me as a guide, use me as whatever you want. I'm an open book. I honestly try to help as many people as I come across, whether that's in their personal lives, business, spirituality, whatever the case may be. So that's what I want the world to know about me.
Definitely.
For
So,
sure.
last but not least, this is your opportunity. The camera is all yours. You could give advice. You could tell the world what's going on, anything like that. You could
For
do
sure.
You could do both if you want.
Okay. Let me see what I got for him real quick. Let me see. I had to check my notes real quick. I like to write my thoughts down. So one note I had was, this is my freshest notes. Suppress emotions linger inside. So emotional. Oh wait, I was typing this while I was driving. Let me
You're
get that
good.
out.
You're good.
Suppress emotions linger inside. So just let your emotions out. And another one was I'm in alignment with my ancestors, and I'm aware of the struggles that they went through. So basically, for the last 500 years, we've been under this, slavery system. I mean, it's obvious. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'm just aware of it. It doesn't really bother me. I'm not upset that we went through what we went through. I honestly feel like it was a choice. Originally, we were the true, rulers of this land before it was hijacked. And I just honestly feel like the world is coming back into that. Like, I don't know if you guys can feel it, but I could feel the shift happening. Like, things are just changing for the better. And I feel like the pandemic was a major piece, like, that a lot of us needed to, activate that spark within us to, let our light shine. And I know for me personally, that's what it was. But honestly, man, just feel free to express yourself. Don't suppress them emotions inside, because suppressed emotions can turn into anything, whether that's disease, just a bunch of trapped feelings. Just let it out. Let it all out, whether that's in a notebook to someone whatever the case may be. Just don't suppress your emotions.
Definitely.
For sure.
So I'm going to go ahead and end it off.
Okay.
All right. Well, one, I got to say I appreciate you for coming in.
Likewise, bro. I appreciate you for having me.
No, definitely. It's a great feeling to be able, I always say it like, I couldn't do what I'm doing without amazing people like yourself.
For sure.
You got you and everyone else, especially the people, and it's all the people that are watching, are what make up a community. And everybody has a story, everybody has a journey, and it takes a lot for some people a lot of people to go and tell their story because they feel like they're alone, but they're not.
They're not. For
so sure. I gotta say, I appreciate you again for coming on, and I gotta go ahead and do my outro now. So. This is the Community Pod. I just want to say I appreciate everyone who has tuned in. And like I said, if you're new here, welcome to the Community Pod. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what was your favorite part. If you're watching on any audio platforms, leave a review. It helps me out more than you think.
That's right.
Like I said before, if you are new here, welcome to the Community Pod. And we are out. Peace.
Yes, sir. Community Pod to the moon.